If you don't know what's happening along the Nicomekl River right now, you're missing one of the most important long-term projects in South Surrey. And whether you've lived here for 20 years or you're thinking about relocating, this isn't just about some future walking trail we're talking about here. This is a $26 million, 3-kilometer riverfront park plan.
What looks like a quiet stretch of river between Elgin Road and 48th Avenue is actually part of a long-term strategy that's been in development for years. And when it's fully realized, it's going to change how people walk, bike, paddle, and experience green space in this part of the city.
In this video, I'm going to break down what the Nicomekl Riverfront Park actually is, what residents will get to enjoy when it completes, how it connects neighborhoods along the river, and why this project matters if you own property or plan to in South Surrey. Because this isn't just about environmental planning, it's long-term community planning.
And understanding projects like this is what separates knowing South Surrey from really understanding where it's heading.
So let's break it down.
Only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right.
Hey, worth mentioning, my name is Darren. I'm a real estate professional based right here in White Rock and South Surrey area, and I've been helping families buy and sell homes here since all the way back to 2007. And since then, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, many of whom found me right here on this very YouTube channel. So if you're thinking about seriously making a move and want some smart local advice with zero pressure, just real insight, there's a link below in the description of this video to book a time with me or my team, and together we'll help you make the right move with confidence. Okay, so what will this actually look like for residents?
At the core of the plan is a continuous, multi-use pathway running along the south side of the Nicomekl River, designed for walking, jogging, and cycling. Right now, parts of the river feel disconnected. You can access certain sections, but you can't experience the full stretch in a seamless way. The goal is to create a true 3-kilometer continuous riverfront experience.
That means you'll be able to park once and walk a long, uninterrupted section of river or bike from one end to the other without weaving through neighborhood streets. There'll be various access points to the water for things like kayaks and paddle boards tied into Surrey's broader Blueways plan. So this isn't just land-based recreation, it's also about activating the river itself. There are design gathering nodes in certain zones, places with seating, viewpoints, and washroom access, but it's intentionally not being designed to feel urban or overbuilt. There's no massive sports fields, no giant concrete plazas. The goal is to keep it natural, immersive, and connected to the river. For longtime residents, this transforms what has mostly felt like a quiet buffer zone into a true recreational corridor. And for people moving to South Surrey, it adds that something that most suburban communities simply don't have, a long, continuous riverfront lifestyle amenities built right directly into the neighborhood. Now here's where it gets even more important. This project isn't just about adding a nice place to walk.
The Nicomekl River sits within Surrey's floodplain, and as sea levels rise over the coming decades, this corridor becomes increasingly important from a long-term planning perspective. Instead of building heavily right up to the river, the city is reinforcing this stretch as protected green space, and that does two things. First, it preserves the river corridor itself. You're not going to see dense development lining both sides of the river in the future. And second, it allows the city to adapt a long-term flood risk in a way that doesn't impact established neighborhoods to the south.
It's about protecting the character of the river edge while still making it accessible. And that matters when you look at property ownership long-term. Communities that preserve continuous natural corridors, especially waterfront corridors, tend to hold better value over time. You're not backing onto future commercial development. You're backing onto protected green infrastructure. And that's very different long-term in terms of outcomes. So what happens next? Well, before we touch on that, if you're even thinking about buying a home, whether it's in the areas that we serve of South Surrey, White Rock, Surrey, or even the surrounding municipalities, it could be anywhere in BC for that matter, you're going to want to be sure to grab a copy of our free PDF, 21 grants and rebates for home buyers. We pulled together every program we could find, federal, provincial, even niche local ones, plus tips, links, and quick ways to save that are often hard to find, buried, and made way too confusing. So we've sourced them and put them into one single spot for you to take full advantage. It's totally free and could save you thousands. So you can get it now by checking the description of this video and getting it in the link below. Okay, so what does happen next. This isn't a project that flips on overnight. The Nicomekl Riverfront is being implemented in phases as funding, engineering coordination, and flood adaptation upgrades move forward. Some sections already have informal access, and others still require restoration work, pathway installation, and infrastructure coordination, especially where the dike improvements and flood elevations are involved. Parts of this corridor are tied into Surrey's broader coastal flood adaptation strategy as well, which means improvements are connected to long-term sea level planning and in some cases external funding. So don't expect a single grand opening. This will roll out gradually. You'll likely see sections completed over time with pathway improvements here and enhanced access points over there rather than one massive transformation all at once. And that's intentional because this corridor is being treated as a long-term infrastructure, not just a recreational add-on. Now, zooming out for 1 second.
This project says something bigger about South Surrey. For years, this area has balanced suburban growth with access to natural space, fake Crescent Beach, Blackie Spit, Sunnyside Acres. The Nicomekl Riverfront Park reinforces that identity. It protects the continuous river edge from future dense development. It strengthens the connections between neighborhoods and nature. And it signals that as South Surrey grows, there's still a priority placed on preserving large, accessible green corridors.
For longtime residents, that protects the character of the area. For people moving here, it adds a level of long-term planning and lifestyle infrastructure that isn't always obvious at first glance. So while this project may not grab headlines the way development proposals do, it's one of those initiatives that quietly shapes the community for decades. And if you're serious about understanding South Surrey, this is one of the pieces that you need to know because you can't just look at listings and prices. You have to understand the planning happening all underneath it. And speaking of that, in the video coming up next, I'm breaking down the 3 best areas to live in South Surrey and White Rock, bottom line, based on lifestyle, long-term value, walkability, and who each neighborhood is actually the right fit for. Not all areas in South Surrey and White Rock are created equal. And if you're moving here or even just thinking about it, that's a breakdown that you don't want to miss. So the good news is that video is coming up right now. If I had to move my own family to South Surrey or White Rock, these are the only 3 neighborhoods that I'd consider. Because here's the thing, not every so-called family-friendly area actually feels that way once you're living there.